Ayo. I think I mean this to be the first episode of a different type of series, right? Called Life on Fire, where I talk about, what's it like to actually have already been retired. Okay? So, being this is the first episode, let's talk about the real important issue at hand, which is early retirement all that it's cracked up to be? Hmm? What do you think? Think about that for a second. Imagine it for yourselves. And I think for me, the answer is absolutely yeah. Oh my god. My happiest day of that I can remember in recent years was probably, being done with the corporate job. Now, let me be clear. I really enjoyed working with my coworkers. My boss is a great friend of mine, and I genuinely liked a lot of the other people that I worked with too. It doesn't mean though that I, would trade all this freedom for the corporate gig again. So I wouldn't. Okay. Now, a lot of the reasons why I'm making this video is like I watch other people's videos or articles about financial independence, retire early, and some people say things like you gotta have something to do when you retire too, and I don't agree with that at all. Okay, because to me the whole financial independence part, okay, the retire early part not as important. If you love your job, you could always stick with your old job and no one will fault you for it, right? Like if you love your job, if you happen to be, to me, part of, I don't know, 20% of the people who love doing what they're doing, if you do your job without getting paid, just keep doing that, right? Good for you. I think that's makes you in the, very much, in the minority, okay? But for the rest of us, just, I think my qualifier is good here, right? For the rest of us, think about it like this. If your boss stopped paying you tomorrow, would you still do what you're doing? If not, then you don't love your job, do you? So, yeah. So for me, freedom trumps almost all other considerations. And a lot of the fire people will say, right, like, but what happens? Now you have all this free time. What do you do with it? I don't know. To me, I think what I've done with it, I can only speak to my own experience, is just, it's like a reversion to childhood, right? I just do the things that I really enjoy that um, I didn't have time to do before. Okay, I could establish my own routine. I could sleep until noon. I think I did that for the first 6 months or so. I don't do that anymore. These days, I actually get up around, I'd say around 8. Not terribly early. Definitely later than when I was at work, but not super late. That's because, I'm happy to get up now. I get up to, put some hours in learning a new language, for instance. I just started to try to learn French, and I can put in like 3, 4 hours every day on that. Is that something that's possible back in the days when I had a regular job? I mean, if all I wanted to do was work, eat, sleep, and learn a new language, then yes. But I don't think I have to convince any audience member who actually has a real job. That's just not how you do it, right? Like when you come home after 8 hours, 9 hours, 10 hours, studying a new subject purely for fun is probably not how you're going to spend your off time, right? But I can do that, and it doesn't feel very stressful at all. And I think it's instead something to do for fun to stimulate my mind, right? But even before that, when I talked about reversion to childhood, what did I do when I first left my job? I don't know. I'm a dude. I like video games, so I did a lot of that, and I didn't have to feel guilty about it, right? I used to feel guilty about it, when I had a work life and somewhat of a, sparingly you could call a personal life. But like if I was playing video games, I'd be like, oh man, I should have been I don't know, trying to work on my relationships, or maybe watching a TV show rather than doing actively something like video games, which can take up a lot of time and cut into sleep or whatever. Don't have that problem anymore, do I? Right? Like it's spent 50% of my time playing video games, which I did year one of my retirement, and still leave plenty to go work on my relationships, learn how to cook, just any other self kind of improvement type of skills, right? I'm not counting video games as self improvement. I'm counting video games as reversion to childhood. And to me, that's important. You know why? Because most people, hopefully, if you had a reasonably good childhood, you remember that period with such wonder and nostalgia. Why do you think that is? Right? When I really think back on it, it's because you didn't have that many responsibilities, right? Like your parents told you what to do to some extent, and you didn't have any money. Well, most of us didn't have any money when we were a kid. But you also didn't have to deal with all the complexities of a quote unquote adult life, right? So to me, that is ultimately what's so great about having the option to retire early, right? Like having the option, like once you reach financial independence, which to me, all that means is like, hey, is your passive income, has it exceeded whatever you spend in a year? And for me, it has. And I can honestly say that one of the reasons why I waited this long to make these videos is I didn't want to start talking about my life after fire when it's barely been, say, a couple of months, right? I've been in my post-retirement early period for almost 2 years now, okay? Almost 2 years later, I'd say every year after, I've not only covered all my expenses, that includes my expected expenses plus some major unexpected expenses in both years of my early retirement, okay? So I've been able to cover both and increase my net worth each year on average by 6 figures, okay? Yeah, it's been amazing. It's great. Like, think about that in comparison to what your life is like, right? From year to year, did your net worth go up by 6 figures? No? In if not, then yeah, you should probably listen a little bit to what I have to say because I'm despite the egotistical boasts, I'm not a genius. Okay, I'm just a regular dude. If I can do it, get to early retirement while still buying shit like this, so can anyone. Okay, and it is and it has been amazing and unexpected to be amazing still. Yeah. So that's my answer to that question. Have a good night.